Welcome back to the Homeowner's Roof Guide brought to you by Rainstoppers Roofing, where we dive into the burning questions that every homeowner has about their roof and everything in between. As usual, joined by Mr. Scott Tebay, our fearless leader and owner of Rainstoppers Roofing. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Good to be here.
So for today's episode, we are going to be looking at the 3 red flags every homeowner should know before hiring a roofing contractor. And I know, especially in our area, there's always roofs that need put on. There's always contractors willing to do it. But like we had that storm and tons of roofs got damaged. So there's a lot of people that are hiring contractors right now to do their roof. And maybe this might be their first experience hiring someone. So I know that you, with the amount of time you've spent with other contractors and just working in this business, you'd have to know at least a few big red flags that contractors might have.
For sure. And I've got 3 right offhand. I mean, there's a lot more technically that we could go into, but the 3 that are easy to me, it's technically 4, but 2 of them I'm gonna put together would be the first one is time that it takes to get a quote. And what I mean by that is if you have a roof inspection done today and we get to this time next week, if you still don't have a quote, you need to reach out to that contractor. We are busy, we are humans, we make errors, we forget things. Reach out, right? Take a minute, shoot a text, shoot an email. Hey man, still haven't got the quote. If they still haven't got to you within a couple days, just think what that experience is going to be like when they go to do the project, or when you try to get them to come back for a mistake or a potential leak. If writing a simple roof quote takes multiple efforts, think what it's going to be like with all the other stuff. It's probably going to be terrible. Like there's no way. I mean, writing the quote is probably the easiest part, you know. Um, Roofing quotes are very simple. It's the same material time and time again. It doesn't change. It's just the measurement that changes. Just the quantity of that material. The material's the same. It's still shingles and ice and water and starter and drip edge. It's just the quantity. So it's pretty easy to write a roof quote. So if it's taking them, if you're having to reach out multiple times just to get a quote, imagine how it's going to be when they do put that roof on, or you hire them and try to get them there to put the roof on, or try to get them to come back for an issue. Good luck, right? That's, to me, that's a huge red flag. I'm not working with somebody that can't simply get me a quote in a timely manner. Again, have some grace. Understand we're all human. If we forgot, shoot us a message after a few days. Hey, I haven't heard back. Do you have that? But if it's another few days, yeah, that guy's probably not got it together enough to service you long term. So that would be number 1 for me. Number 2 for me is probably going to be a little bit controversial, but it's price. If we get plenty of people that call us and they'll even be upfront and say, if I'm roofing it, you guys are doing it, period. I know you've done my mother's, my brothers, my friend, and you did a great. I'm using you guys, right? We get a ton of those, honestly, but we get just as many that are checking prices, which is perfectly fine. You should get multiple quotes. What you shouldn't do is automatically go with the cheapest. Not saying the cheapest might not be great. Maybe they did a good inspection. They gave you a really good educational experience when they gave you the quote, and were very timely with everything they did. There's good guys out there that are inexpensive. Maybe they're just new to the business, and they're gonna learn that they do have to charge a little bit more to survive in this business because everything's expensive. But always the red flag for me is you've got guys that are extremely high, and then you got guys that are charging nothing. Right? Like we get every once in a while, we'll get one. We'll give, and I don't remember the exact numbers. We had one recently that we were like $14,000 on. A homeowner said, and they were kind of frustrated. They were a little bit annoyed with us. And they said, well, I'm not going to hire you guys. I got a quote for $7,000. You guys are just gouging. We're not doing that. I can promise you we're not gouging. We charge, it's consistent with every homeowner. We charge the same price range with everybody, depending on the measurement and the difficulty. It's all the same. There's no variables to screw that up. We ran the numbers. The material for the job, just the material, was $6,800. That's no labor, no dump fees, no permits, no all the other crap that, like, our true cost in that job was going to be way more than $6,800. the guy was going to lose money, or he just simply was not going to give them what he promised to give them. He was going to nail the shingles over the existing shingles, which means he's not replacing drip edge, which means he's not putting ice and water shield down. He's not putting new felt down. He's not putting new ridge vent down potentially. There's so many things that's not taking place because he's doing it that way. That's going to save some money. He doesn't have dump fees. Doesn't, he might be trying to do it on a Saturday, so he doesn't have to pay a permit. He's trying to skate by without paying for the permit fee. That should be a big red flag. If you're going to get 3 quotes, chances are you're going to get at least 2 of them that are competitive, right? Maybe you got one for 8 grand, 12 grand, and 12.5. Well, that 8 grand, hitch it. Something's not right. They're not doing something to make this a successful project. There's no way, because the other 2 guys are really close, right? That makes sense. They're right in the same ballpark. Maybe it's 12 and 13 grand versus 8 grand. Go with the 12 or 13 grand. Look at those 2, and then go to reputation after that. Go to, the experience you had with them, maybe referrals that you got from friends or family from one or the other. That's how you address that. You don't just go with the cheapest, because I'll be completely honest. I can think of at least 5 right offhand within the last year that went with the cheap guy, right? And when I say cheap, I mean guys half the price we are, extremely cheap. I can think of so many instances just in the last 12 months that those homeowners have called us after the install. We had one up in our Morgantown office 3 weeks ago. This is exactly what happened. They hired somebody that charged next to nothing. It was a metal job. It's literally the worst install I've ever seen. And they cut so many corners. They didn't put rake corners up the edge. They didn't put drip edge on. I mean, it's just terrible looking. They put shingle roof boots on a metal roof, which is an absolute no-no. Like, just the crazy stuff. Like, that's not acceptable. You really, really need to pay attention. That customer, you want to know what her most expensive roof was? That cheap one she bought, because now she's got to buy an expensive one off of us. And it's not even expensive, it's a fair price. So now she bought one that cost her, I think it was like 6 grand. Now she's got to buy one off us for 10. So now she's going to pay 16 grand for $10,000. So understand that, going cheap is not usually in your best interest in roofing. There are some things you can get away with it in, but in roofing, cheapest is usually not always the best. That's a big red flag.
It's like going to the used car lot and you see like a sports car that has a super low number on it. What's wrong with it?
Right. Yeah. Probably got a salvage title, or it was in a flood, or it was, yes, exactly. There's a reason that they're that cheap. There's also guys that'll go that cheap and then they'll send you an invoice for twice as much. We see that too. You know what I mean? They're like, well, yeah, but your quote didn't include X, Y, and Z, and you said you wanted that. Well, you should have quoted it, ding dong, right? Like, but we see that, and it's like, always understand what it is you're getting. One thing we like to do, we don't ask to see a competitor's number. We don't care. We're charging you what we're charging you, period. That we've got our price. That's what it is. That's what it's always going to be. Don't care what anybody else is charging. But we're always happy to look at the scope of work in our competitors, quote, just to make sure, hey, if they're 2 grand cheaper than us, that's okay. If you want us to take a look at it and make sure that you're getting everything that you're asking for, we're happy to take a look at that. And don't, you don't have to, but we truly want to take care of any customers that we possibly can. And likely, if they're significantly cheaper than us, there's a really, really big reason why. And it's not just because we're expensive and they're not. That's almost never the case. So I would say that's number 2. Number 3 is kind of a 2-part answer, I guess. So reviews and locality. So if your contractor does not have a website, or at least a Google My Business page where you can find them somewhere that people can leave reviews. And I'm not talking Facebook, because Facebook really almost doesn't count for negative reviews, because you can simply just click delete. Like, so obviously you're just going to delete any bad ones. Google is not that simple. On Google, if you get a negative review, if it's a legitimate review, it's almost impossible to get deleted. So yeah, if they don't have a GMB, or a website or somewhere for people to leave these reviews, that should be a huge red flag. I mean, you can get a website built today for $500. Like, this is not complicated. It's not expensive, but it should build trust. You should have that, because that's a place that homeowners can go see what other homeowners think of you. And if they've got a bunch of bad reviews, well, obviously that's a red flag, right? Even if they're a 4.5 stars, well, 4.5 stars isn't very good considering you can get a bunch of good reviews on Google that aren't legitimate because Google doesn't just delete reviews just because. They're actually hard to get to delete reviews. So the good ones and the bad ones stay. What's easy to get good ones, you get your friends and family leave you a bunch of good ones. So always look at the bad ones. We covered that a little bit last week. Look at the bad ones first. And then, with reviews and Google My Business page, the reason this is two-part is look at the addresses. We've got a Google My Business page for each one of our physical locations. You can see I think the lowest we are in all four is a 4.9 rating. You can go to your local Google My Business page for Rain Stoppers Roofing, whether it's Athens, Marietta, Charleston, or Morgantown, and see how we're performing in that area because those reviews are from customers in that area. So yeah, that's kind of the three big ones for me that all of those should be fairly common sense and taking very little time to navigate to understand.
So I got one that it's kind of a red flag for me, and I don't know that it should be, but it is. If you call a contractor to get a quote and they come look at your job and then they like handwrite a quote, like it's pen and paper or pencil and paper. Either they're just getting started, they're super old school, very primitive ways. I feel like once you get to a certain point, once you've done enough work, like you start adopting. I just don't feel like if you're doing handwritten quotes, especially in 2026, you're not able to keep up with the demand. And he's probably backlogged from jobs because it's just an organizational and logistical nightmare working with someone like that. So
I agree. And what's actually funny, I saw a post on Facebook the other day. There was somebody looking for recommendations for a contractor. It was for like a bathroom or something. And it said, someone posted, she said, someone that's not booked out for 6 months. Someone commented on there, and the comment was, the only way to know someone's truly a good contractor is if they are booked out really long. And I didn't comment back, but I wanted to say that just means that they have a lot on their plate. That doesn't mean anything more than that. That means that they haven't figured out how to keep up with the demand. Maybe they are in high demand. Maybe they are very good. We work our butts off just to stay within like a 3 to 4 week backlog. I mean, we absolutely work our butts off. We're already usually we don't get to this point this early in the year, but we're 7 days a week right now. No questions asked. It's 7 days a week right now to try to keep up. We continuously hiring, continuously training. That way we keep more guys in the system that know the process, know how to do a quality install. You can't wait. You can't wait 6 months just for someone to come put a roof on. You know what I mean? That doesn't make us a bad contractor. That makes us a well-oiled machine in my mind. You know what I mean? Like we want to continue to keep up with the demand. We don't want to let the demand overrun the system we've built. So yeah, I agree 100%. But I just thought that post was kind of funny.
God, I think that's all the time we have for this one. So we will close it at that. Thank you for tuning in to the Homeowner's Roof Guide by Rainstoppers Roofing. And be sure to subscribe and find us on Facebook and YouTube and TikTok. And we will see you in the next one.